All right. Welcome everyone to today's New Voices Amplify info session. Um, just to give you an overview of what we'll go over today, we'll give some introductions so you'll know who we are. Oops, jumped ahead. Jumping two ahead. Oh, that's backwards. Okay. We'll give a overview of the program and we'll also go through the application process. Applications are currently open, so this is a great opportunity to ask some questions if you want some guidance on things, best practices and all that. And then we usually will go through some Q&As from previous years. Because yeah, and then if you have other questions that don't come up, we will also get to those at the end. So, let's, so yeah, I'm Casper. I'm a program manager at AIR. I oversee the New Voices Fellowship Program, um, and membership and all that. So you've probably seen me before. And then I will pass it to TK to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm TK Dutest. What's up, guys? I'm your New Voices Amplify captain. Together with Casper, we'll be like walking you through this 8-week program where you learn marketing things and tools, things and tools to like increase your distribution and your visibility or your listenability of your podcast. So we look forward to walking you through these 8 weeks.
All right, and a very special surprise because we just confirmed our mentors for this year. So we have some amazing mentors, a fresh slate of mentors. So you might see some of them are familiar. They have either taught classes or workshops or have been a part of the Amplify program in the past. And I know Paulette is here too, so maybe at some
Yep.
point we can pull Paulette up to talk about her experience. I'll have to figure out how to do that in this webinar format. But we'll figure it out. And in the meantime, we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah. So, what is New Voices Amplify, y'all? And as you can see right here, it's we created this program at AIR to help independent podcasters grow their audiences, and we know that it's really hard to do that as independent creators. So, we're trying to give folks, you know, kind of building blocks to go on top of every week. A block is added, a block is added, a block is added, so that you have tools that you can use way far in the future. You don't have to use them all now in real time with us. It's an easygoing program, but it's a packed program. So we're gonna give you building blocks that like you're not gonna realize in the moment, but 3 months from now you're gonna be like, I'm so glad I know how to write a press release. I'm so glad I'm learning about monetization. So we're gonna talk about your data, how to make that into a story, how to use that story for your marketing, how to monetize, how to grow your audience. So we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a lot, but it's gonna be good.
And just in case you're curious about like the specific sessions, I'm just going to drop a link to last year's program and you can see some of the topics that we talked about. And also, all of the recordings from last year's session are available to AIR members. So if you were interested in checking any of those out, those are available to watch. And this year, we'll be not exactly replicating the same content. So we have some things in store for you to make the content a little bit different while still focusing on a lot of those key strategies and tactics for marketing.
Also, anything that anything that like we've covered in the past years, be due to the nature of like you are an air member or you are in the program already, you can always access last year's content, and we'll also uplift anything that we think like, oh, you guys should listen to this on top of what we have. Casper.
Yeah. And then just to give you a sense of the New Voices program in general has always been founded on prioritizing voices that are underrepresented, BIPOC, women, LGBTQ, people with disabilities. If you feel like you're underrepresented in some way, please let us know on the application form. That's just an example of some of the things. And then also, individuals who have not been offered access and opportunities. So if you've been doing a podcast for a while and you're just not seeing any growth and you kind of are like, I just need to connect with people that have been there, done that, can show me how to do it, get that mentorship. This is what that program is for. And of course, having a willingness to commit to attending all of the sessions, that is a requirement, and participating in the discussions that we'll have. And then, of course, we'll have homework assignments, which are optional, but we do encourage you to take a stab at them, experiment a bit with your show. And then also at the end, you'll submit a evaluation of the program. Um, so yeah, and I don't know if we have a slide for this, but with the commitment part, we do select a cohort of 16. And so if you are picked for that 16, it is very important for you to be able to attend the live sessions with your mentor, because that's where you'll get to be with your group and, give feedback to each other, learn about each other's shows, and then also have that direct time with your mentor. And there will be office hours too that your mentor can set up with you outside of the required meetings. Um, but yeah, we are just wanting people that are willing to learn, willing to engage, and really want to be a part of this.
And there's a couple levels to this thing. So just for applying, you get a 3 month air membership if you're not a member already, and that includes the SoundPath account and whatever air discounts that we have. There's a discount page with a lot of stuff. So if you have this 3 month thing, you should definitely use it. You can set up your profile in the talent directory. Again, access to the SoundPath video library, access to the webinars for that we do, the public ones, and you get an invite to the Air Stirs Slack where you can communicate with folks in the community in general, and that's what you just get as an applicant. Now, Casper's going to say what you get as a fellow.
So yeah, like I said, there will be 16 people that will be selected for the cohort, and that is more hands-on. And you'll also get a stipend for that. So you'll get $1,000 stipend. You will get a mentor. We break it down to groups of four. So you'll be in like a smaller group within that cohort with three other peers, and then you'll have a mentor who kind of guides that group through the program. And then we'll have some, surprise speakers. So we will have those public webinars that are available to all AIR members, but then we'll have some secret workshops that are just for the cohort. And then, like I said, there will be office hours with your mentor, and with like TK and I if you ever need that additional support. And then you'll also get all of the benefits of an AIR membership for 1 year. And you'll get a profile in the AIR Talent Directory. We always feature our New Voices Fellows in our newsletter and social media. So we'll do a spotlight on you and highlight your podcasts. And then, like TK said, all the other resources, discounts, and benefits that you can get through a general AIR membership.
All right, now here's the nitty gritty, y'all. The applications have been open for about a week now, so and here's our info session. The deadline, you still have time to apply, is February 2nd at midnight. Well, 11:59 Eastern. Let's not get it twisted. We will notify all 16 applicants by mid-March. We will make a public announcement April 1st, and we will start the program May 5th. So you have lots of time. Casper just dropped a direct link to the application. So that's it. Like, it's open already. You can apply. Casper told me there's already a couple applications in. So we look forward to getting more and seeing who's going to be part of this cohort.
And then within that timeline, the program will officially launch on May 5th. That will be our first session where everyone will get to meet each other and do introductions. And then on every Thursday between May 5th and June 26th, Thursday will be those webinar presentations that are open to all AIR members. And then after that presentation, the cohort of 16 will go into a secret breakout room or a Zoom link, and they'll get some one-on-one time with that presenter. So, there is the opportunity for anyone to ask questions at the end of those webinar presentations, but then the cohort will get some additional time with that speaker to go a little bit deeper if they have specific questions for their show. And then on Tuesdays, that's designated just for the cohort. That's when we'll meet and kind of work through some of the homework assignments and things that we're learning. And the mentors will be there too to help guide you. And, we'll usually have a group discussion and then time to be in your smaller groups to actually, work on things, get feedback, and get support from your mentor.
All right, y'all. Here, all the things you got to do, for first of all, application steps and qualifications. So you have to have an existing podcast. It has to exist, guys, or else what are we going to market? It has to have at least 3 episodes completed in the past year. You have to be an independent. You can't be tied to insert company here. Like, you can be tied to a company for your day job, but this podcast has to be yours and not tied to them. And basically without the support of a major network. Identify as a historically marginalized person or underrepresented group. If whatever you feel, just tell us. Tell us who you are. Tell us what that means to you. There's many ways to identify as underrepresented, and a lot of that is a lot of people have also, like, just to throw a different like lens on that, geographically, right? So New York and LA, the big cities, Chicago, there's lots of podcasters from there, and we get a lot, these places get a lot of resources. But Alaska, you know what I'm saying? Like, underrepresented. So, like, let us know what you think that means for you. Just put it in the application. For this, you must have a U.S. address and a U.S. bank account, because we're gonna have to send you stuff, and also, do your stipend and all that stuff. It has to go through an American account. Doesn't matter where you live. We're not gonna block nobody's blessing, but you must have these 2 things. The application, there's an overview. Of course, we're going to ask about your demographics. Please tell us who you are, what motivates you, what inspires your work. Tell us about your podcast and what the goals are as it pertains to marketing it, right? What is, tell us about it, the genre, the downloads, the release schedules. Tell us things that have to do with what you're trying to do in terms of increasing listenership for your show. Also, tell us the challenges you're having. What are you having trouble with? I can say, like, I have a new podcast, and I'm having challenges, like, getting folks to the next episode, right? Like, so now how do I want to address that in this program? And then tell us what you hope to get out of this experience, right? What would it mean to you to be chosen to as a participant? What would it mean for your podcast? Will it increase your listenership? Do you think that listenership, you want to increase community engagement? Tell us what it will mean. And then send us links to your show or completed episodes. So, yeah, these are the things that we're looking for.
And if you haven't checked out the application yet, you just to give you an idea of what that looks like, we use a platform called Submittable, which is a very popular platform for applications, grants, and things like that. So you might be familiar with it already, but if not, you will need to make a Submittable account. And then once you do that, you'll be able to save your application. So say you're working on it, but you're not ready to submit it yet, or you want to work on it in different, over time in different sections. Just make sure you click save. I can't remember if it automatically saves it or not. But just so, you don't have any moments where you're just like, oh no, I closed my browser. So yeah, and then just make sure you submit it. Even if you have it saved and it's ready to go, make sure you actually submit it before the deadline, and it's not just hanging out as a draft. So just some things to note about the Submittable platform. All right. And here's like a speed round of FAQs. These are just questions that we usually get in the past. Um, So we can just like try to speed run right through them. But what stage of my career should I be in to apply? You can be in any stage of your career. And in terms of your podcast, like TK mentioned, we are looking for shows that already have some episodes out there. So if you're someone who has an idea for a show, but you haven't done anything yet, you're still welcome to attend the public webinars so that when the time comes, you'll have that knowledge. But for the program, we are looking for people who are ready to apply the things that they're learning and, be able to see and experiment in real time if these things are actually working for them.
Yeah, I could take the next one.
Cool.
Will I have to produce or showcase anything? Okay, so this is why we give the homeworks that have to that correlate with the speakers, because we want you to leave with a portfolio of things that you can use or embellish later, right? So at least you'll have a first draft of something, but at the end, when we have our presentations on the last week, we ask that you present three items of homework, that you show us that like correlates to increasing your listenership, your engagement, or whatever. So in the past, some people have shown, and I'm gonna just call on Paulette in the chat to just share what were your three things that you shared, Paulette, if you remember. She's in the chat and she's gonna be one of our upcoming mentors this year. So this is pretty cool. So some people have shared like, here's my press release, here is a pitch to journalists, and here is, oh, Paulette's coming on, something else, like something that correlates with, the homework. So we ask that folks do that. And I would say the last cohort really showed a lot of showed us a lot of examples of really good marketing concepts and ways that they wanted to take their shows. So, Paulette, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you say some words.
Hi everyone. I don't even know if my camera is showing me.
We see you.
Thank you. This was a little unexpected, so excuse my appearance. What were my takeaways from last year? Let's see. I'm looking at my project because I created a little presentation in Canva. Uh, really, it was such a transformative experience, I would say, because I went from not even really believing podcasting was a true art, a true medium, to now I have over 10,000 downloads. Like that happened immediately after this program was over. Like it just being more connected to my podcast just as this project that I do by myself. I don't have money for anybody else to work on it, and it kind of exploded just by being in proximity with other people in the program who were doing way bigger things than I am. So that was cool. Like, and then watching everyone's progress. I've been watching TK like with your bus ad, like all of these ideas that are so out of the box that, where else are you going to find something like this? I also founded Latinas in podcasting. So everything I was learning, I was showing them and helping them. And our membership exploded to over 400 people. It's just like the program is intense. I'm not going to lie. From like being in that cohort, you've really got to dedicate time and energy to this and complete your homework because this is all for you, right? This is all you're the only one benefiting from this. And if you don't put in the work, you're not going to benefit. But man, the rewards on the back end after going through all of that and having 15 other people who also went through that with you, who came up together. Again, we're all in different places on our journeys, but we're all peers and equals. And the really beautiful thing about it is it wasn't even a competition, right? We weren't competing for eyeballs. We weren't competing for downloads. We were supporting and collaborating with each other. And I think that was just an amazing
Yeah.
experience and singular. I have been talking about this for so long, trying to get people to join up. And I know it's a competitive thing. I didn't get in my first time,
Yeah, and
but I got in
also,
the second.
I I would love to like piggyback off what you just said, and then to Thomas in the chat, he says, as an old white guy based in California, is it worthwhile for me to apply? I publish a podcast about living in the Anthropocene, human development and environmental stewardship. I think it's worthwhile for anyone that thinks they need to apply, because even if you don't get in as a fellow, like I said, we have the public version of the thing for you. And also those people, that's why we have Tuesdays and Thursdays. That way we can service the wider community, and those folks also have resources for you that speak to the theme of the week. And then with the cohort, we just go a little deeper. So we're all on the same schedule, but we just go a little further. So if you're feeling it, Thomas, I mean, I love the content. So let's rock and roll. We look forward to seeing your application. Casper, do you mind if I address the next comment in the chat room? A couple people had it. My podcast is in both, shout out to Benjamin and Lisa, audio and video forms. Is a typical episode is distributed both ways. Is that okay? Yep. Yep. We have no like feelings about, the show just has to exist. And then what happens is, once we know who are the fellows, that's kind of how we shape the program. So if Benjamin, Lisa, and some other video / audio folks come, then we realize, wow, we have a demand. So we should make sure we book somebody that talks about video, right, as well. So you all actually help to form the curriculum for this coming year. We try to, address as many needs as possible, and then you can go back to old stuff, or we can point you out to some stuff that we did in previous years that you can also like add to your learnings. Casper, you want to pick up another FAQ?
Sure. So I think we're at, do I need any specific audio equipment? Not anything in particular for this program, but just whatever you need to create your show. But we're not requiring anything like, you have to use Pro Tools or uh, something, another Hindenburg or something like that. So whatever equipment you have is fine. Can students apply? Yes, I think though the age is 18 and up. So, if you're a college student and you have a show, you're totally welcome to apply. And then let's see, advice on types of work samples to submit. The best thing that you can submit is your actual podcast. If you have an episode that you're really proud of, link us directly to that episode. If there's a section within that episode that you really want us to hear, I think there's a section in the application where you can kind of write in anything. Just let us know in that box, like that you really want us to listen from whatever timestamp to this timestamp or this specific episode. Because if you just send a link to your general podcast, more than likely we'll click on like the first episode or, whatever episode shows up at the top. So if there is something in particular you want us to hear. And then if you, have other things, like maybe you have other components of your podcast. So like some people mentioned in the chat, there is a video component. If you want to share links to that as well, feel free to do that. It's mostly to give us a sense of what you're creating and just kind of what you're trying to do. So, yeah.
So you did, okay, so I'll do another, and then I'll just go to the chat and we can both answer those. Can I apply as a collective or group? Apply, let us know that it is a collective or group, but only the person that's applying. So make sure whoever's on the application is the person that is coming to the sessions. We can only communicate with so many people. So, we just need to make it streamlined for our 16. And then if you have a group of folks, we don't block anybody's blessings. If they're on Zoom with you, we don't care, but we need to be communicating with you. We need to know that the homeworks are coming from you and your group, but like you're submitting them. If they're in the room and the screen is on and they're learning too, love that. You know what I'm saying? So, will there be an interview process? No, your application is the interview process. And then I'm gonna jump into some chat. So this person, Stacy, is talking about what if the podcast is only on YouTube or Patreon, and we want to get better on publishing to audio, our submissions like that considered. If it's a podcast and you want to shift it to audio, here's the thing. It's a podcast, right? But you have to know how to already we're not going to teach you how to upload. We're not going to teach you how to shift it from video to audio. You have to know the mechanics of your show. But if you just want to learn marketing metrics for podcasting, then we will show you those things. You know what I'm saying? So we can't teach production-ish stuff. So if you know where to upload it, then just know that after you get all this information, you're going to upload it and it's going to be a podcast on an RSS feed somewhere, We do talk about, or we have talked about show art and just the things that make your show more appealing as an audio piece. So I think you'll get a lot from it. Lee said, I have a podcast with a local small radio station. Could I still apply? Casper, does the local small radio station podcast still count as this is not a major thing. This is not a big company. So are they welcome to still apply?
Yeah, I think if it's your show and it's on a community radio station, college radio, or something like that, if you are making a show for a radio station that you're getting paid for, they're paying you to create a show for them, I would say no. But if it's your show and you're just doing it through a local radio station, that's totally fine.
And Jessica said, I just booked my first local business supporter. Does this make me be ineligible? Okay, this is what we want. This is what we're going to talk about. So Jessica, you're already ahead of the game. Tell us that this does not make you ineligible. You're independent. We want people that have different outside of the box ways of bringing money into their show. So this comment you made literally would fall under our monetization section of the 8 weeks. So that's honestly beautiful. Drop an emoji for Jessica in the chat for booking your first local business supporter. So thank you, Jessica, and you can still apply. You don't have Coca-Cola, you know what I'm saying? And then Daniela, are there any ways, and Casper, this is the business stuff, you jump in, any ways to include folks who do not have a U.S. address and bank account?
So I did check that we can do international bank accounts now, but we do need a U.S. address because like TK said, we're going to send you things in the mail, and we tried the first year to send things internationally, and that cost way more than it should have.
Tariffs, blame it on the tariffs.
So if you have a U.S. address,
or a friend that we can send the thing to.
And you don't have to physically be in the US. We just need those things to be able to send you the stipend, have a bank account. Like I said, we're not restricted to US bank accounts anymore. So we can do international, and then, the address, or if you just want to forego, getting the thing in the mail, we could also do that. But yeah, we definitely, I think last year, there was people who were traveling and they, were in other countries, but they had a US address where we could send things to them. So hope that clears it up. And also, like TK mentioned, the webinars are going to be public. So even if you aren't accepted into the cohort, you don't need a US address or a bank account to watch the webinars. That's open to all AIR members, regardless of where you are and what kind of banking things you're up to.
Yep. And then back to our FAQs. Who is the program not intended for? So like we said before, if your podcast is part of insert gigantic company here, iHeart, Spotify. Like if your podcast is on Spotify, they need to be doing the marketing for you, okay? Tell them TK said so. This is for independents, underrepresented independents, anybody that feels that they have not, gotten the resources or the trickle down resources. This is for you. So this is not for folks that have resources or are close to resources that you can just, oh, I could phone a friend. My friend is the marketing genius at blank, blank, blank. Well, then go ask your friend, yo, because it's so many people that want to apply for this thing. Casper, I feel like I'm going on a tangent. Well, who else? This is not. Welcome to class, by the way. This is how we act.
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely that is like the major thing. Um, Yeah, like this program was intended to help independent creators. And so that's why it's so important for us to, you know, have people that aren't working for these giant companies and getting paid to create podcasts that way. It's for the person who just like started doing it in their bedroom and, you know, wants to figure out how they can, you know, harness the listenership that they already created and then get you know, the next step up. So yeah, so I think we, yeah, covered a lot of who it's not intended for.
Yeah.
Um,
And just to put a finer distinction on that, right? Like, because a lot of us also have jobs at these places. Those are just jobs. And sometimes you have your thing outside of your job. If this application is pointed to the thing outside of the job and you're not about to ask these people for anything, then come to us. Come to death row. You know, like insider, old people hip hop comment. So we did. Do you already have to have a podcast? Yes. What about this one? What if I have a podcast ready that hasn't been released? 3 episodes. You have to have 3 episodes somewhere. We do prefer that they already have been released in the last year so that we have a baseline of metrics to start from. Um, yes. And then Casper, where can you
yeah.
where can folks find the application?
So I just dropped a link in the chat and I will send an email once the recording is available and I'll have links to all these things in there. But the one I just dropped is just our general page. So this has all the information, a lot of the things that we covered today, including the timeline. And then at the very bottom, there is a link to the application. And then I will also drop the direct link to the application as well, just so that is easy to access. And you can just go ahead and open it and have it up on your browser so that you don't forget about it.
And one more finer distinction. Lori says, I'm on Spotify through Riverside, but they don't pay me or support my podcast anyway. Yeah, you're just on there for hosting. So that's fine. That's just, you don't work for them. You are not in their marketing department. They don't do shit for you. No, you're good, Lori. We know that you're hosted on Spotify. You exist in that ecosystem. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And then also, yeah, to reiterate what TK was saying, like even if you do work at Spotify, but you have your own personal podcasts that you're doing, like apply on behalf of that. Um, so I just don't want anyone to leave this saying if you work somewhere for a company that you can't apply for your own podcast. We just don't want you applying on behalf of a company podcast.
Yeah. Or that you already work in their marketing department. And I'm like, child, you already got the job. So no. Anything else, Casper?
Oh, let's see. What is the next slide? All right.
All right. Any
So
more questions?
yeah, if anyone has any other questions that we didn't address, feel free to put it in the chat. I think we can also unmute you if you want to do it that way. Um,
Can you edit your application after submitting? Regina asks.
so send me an email after because I don't believe, at least last year, the way that it worked was I have to reopen it for you. So just send me an email and I can reopen it. So yeah, that's a good thing for everyone to know. You know, save it as a draft if you're not ready. And then once you submit it, you can't go back and edit it yourself. You'll have to send me an email to reopen it.
And if it's 11:58 on February 2nd, leave Casper alone. You submitted it. Don't make Casper reopen it for 1 minute. All right? Just make sure you get your thing in on time.
And also, submittable is pretty strict. So I would say don't wait until 2 minutes before because who knows, maybe you got the spinny ball and it's like trying to process and then it actually submits it a minute after or a second after. Submittable will shut it down right at the time. It's happened to me before. So don't let it happen to you. Give yourself some time. I mean, let's see, you have like a little under 2 weeks left, I think. So, yeah.
How many minutes should the podcast be? Lee is asking. Majority of my episodes are 5 minutes long for people's attention spans, but I'm working on extended episodes. A podcast is a podcast. So if you can pitch it to us that this is a podcast, we don't care how long it is. This is more about you needing help marketing a thing. We're trying not to judge content and stuff like that. So it will just be, based on need and also the other types of applicants and what kind of group we can create, and then from the group what kind of curriculum we can build for y'all. um you do not need to create a submittable account. Well, actually, it might ask you, Casper, will it ask them to create a submittable account?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Mhm.
sorry about that, Thomas. Yes. Jahel said, will you guys have another session? Nope, this is it. This is recorded and will be posted for you to refer to again. Um, Jessica asked Casper, this is a Casper question. How many people applied last year? And what's the best email to email if they need help with
Mhm.
something?
So let's see. Last year, I believe we got maybe 140 applications.
I
Um,
think so.
and we've already gotten a bunch already. And then, usually a lot will come in towards the end. And then if you do need to get in touch about your application, I dropped the email, casper@airmedia.org. The email with the recording will also come from that email, so you'll have it in your inbox at some point.
Any more questions?
And then I know we mentioned in the timeline section that there will be the very last week of the program will be final presentations. So just wanted to highlight that again, that there is kind of like a point where you will be presenting some of the things that you learned and have applied. So just keep that in mind too, because at the very beginning, we'll, kind of talk about that a little bit more. But it's something that you'll always be like kind of thinking about throughout the program, and just kind of working towards. Like TK said, each week will kind of build off of the previous week. So just keep that in mind that, you will be presenting something at the end.
Paulette, thank you so much, Brittany. Um, while we like wrap up, do you have anything to share as a former participant, a past participant?
Did I answer your question that you asked me last time?
It was, what were your three items? So
Oh,
if you have them, what were your three items that you shared for your presentation?
yeah, it was about growth. So
Mm-hmm.
when I joined, I think I was about 3,000 downloads. When I left, it was close to eight, or maybe it was 6 to 8. Maybe it wasn't that huge a jump. Also, this whole experience really prepared me for launching a TEDx talk. And your girl's doing a pitch next month. So that is
Yes.
finally happening. So for everybody who's watching this, even in the replay, this is a truly transformative experience. You are getting access to people who most indies don't even know exist. Um, I don't know who we get to talk to this year, but last year it was mind blowing, the people that we got access to and the doors that it opened and the confidence that it gives you. So if you're an indie podcaster, this is such an excellent thing to be able to do. So don't hesitate to apply. And again, I did not get in my first time. It is highly competitive, but keep going and come to those free webinars that are happening to the public because, again, the doors it opens are they will transform you as a podcaster.
Awesome. We look forward to having you as a mentor this year. Yay. All right. Okay. I mean, we have time, but if there's anything else, let us know, folks. Or else I think we can close this up in about 3 minutes at 45. How do you feel, Casper?
Yeah. TK, what is your favorite part of Amplify?
I mean, my favorite part is talking to everybody, and like every week, I'm one of the facilitators that kind of ushers you through and then welcomes the guest presenters. So I get to also ask you all about your homework and what you do and how did you. And so, like listening to folks talk about like the different ways that they thought about something, things that I would never think about, and then like share that with each other. I think that's really dope and one of my favorite things to listen for and also like to facilitate. Um, and then just seeing all like the different people get into their groups and get to know each other, my favorite part. What about you, Casper?
Yeah, I think just like learning about everyone's projects, like even reading through applications is always really fun because there's so many cool shows out there. But then also within the cohort, just kind of seeing the collaborations that happen amongst people within the cohort, like guesting on each other's shows, doing like, combined episodes together. And yeah, I feel like that's like a really big benefit too is that you have 15 other peers. So it's just a great opportunity for like, if your show kind of has a similar theme or something that connects with a different show, it's a great way to just do cross promotions with each other, be guests on each other's shows, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think what Paulette was saying too, just being around other people who are doing it and kind of facing the same challenges as you and, having to wear all the different hats. Um, I think it feels, so much better knowing that you're not alone in doing that. And just having people that you can talk to, brainstorm ideas with. Because yeah, sometimes there are those light bulb moments where you can tell someone just like, whoa, I had never thought about that before. So I really love those moments. All right, we got another question in the chat. If applications aren't judged on podcast content, it's more judged on podcaster need. I feel like I don't know how to prepare a strong application.
I mean, definitely still tell us about your content. We're going to click as well. We're going to click for snippets. We're going to click for audio quality and production quality because we need to know that it has to be a good product for you to be marketing it to a bunch of people, right? So like if the quality is subpar, that may bump you down, you know what I'm saying? But like if you write something in the application that indicates, well, this is an old episode and I just got, new equipment, that's happened before, and the person got in. You know what I'm saying? So like I think still make sure we know what the content is as well, because sometimes other smaller details, like for us, that's a smaller detail. Need, of course, is the biggest detail. So like anything that can help you, just put it in. Just put it in. Let us know. We want to know what inspires you to make this show. We want to know why it should hit the ears of the masses. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a show about maternal health, yo, this needs to hit the ears of the masses because people be dying, like there's creative ways to do it. So just definitely let us know all the things. Let us know all the things.
Yeah, and also let's see, just to give you an idea, because we do have like a rubric when we are judging applications. So let me see if I can find the one from last year. But basically, let's see. Go into one of these to see.
Lisa said, TK, you're wearing a Spotify shirt. I'm going to assume that you work there. Since the acquisition of Anchor, do you think the podcast space for smaller podcasts gets less amplification now? So, you know what they say about assumptions. I don't work there. I got it for free. But do I have opinions about anything? Yes. So do you think the podcast space for smaller podcasts gets less amplification now? I think that the podcast space in general is very crowded, and we are now at a point of yelling over each other. I don't think anyone is like, okay, hold that in one box. Another box. I'm opening another box here. I think that giant companies have figured out their version of what works best, and that is celebrity, that is chat, that is easy to churn out programming. So what falls by the wayside? Everybody else. I do not work for these people. So those are my opinions, and I can say them because I do not work for these people.
So I did find, okay, so we're looking at like what sets your podcast apart from other podcasts. Is the audience for your show underserved? What makes you or your podcast an underrepresented voice? Then we also listen for listenability and production. Is the audio quality listenable? Are you pretty consistent with your release schedule? Is the post-production quality of the show ready for activities such as marketing? And then, like, we're looking at your goals. So, when you state your goals, try to kind of be a little bit more specific. Don't just say, I want to have more listeners or I want everyone to know about my podcast. Just have clearly defined goals. And if you've identified challenges, we always look for that. I'm like, okay, cool. You know where you're struggling and where you need help. And if your goals are realistic, so just you can't reach everybody in the world. So what is that like niche that maybe you want to focus on reaching more of? And then just the strength of your overall application. So, if you just kind of typed half sentences or didn't fill out certain answers, then, we'll kind of look at that too. So yeah, just make sure you're thorough. I think there's a word cap on some of the questions. So if you go a little bit over, just if, paste it somewhere where there isn't a word cap, maybe, if it's important. But if not, just, yeah, there are 6 of us reviewing applications. So depending on how many submissions we get, that could be a lot. So, yeah, that's why we're not going to listen to your entire podcast catalog. We'll probably listen to, a couple episodes and maybe just like sections of that episode. So.
And I think you kind of covered this. Dustin asked, will there be a section where we can write some of the additional things that you mentioned during this session? And I think the way we have the questions laid out, you'll be able to write all those things in. And like Casper said, find a place to address it if your word count is up in another box. But we should have enough questions that we've asked you that you can have a chance to write all the things you need to have. Let's see.
Yeah.
Nikki asks, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm looking at the application now, and one of the very last questions is there anything else you would like to share? No word cap, so put it all in there if needed.
Nikki asks, we started first a live video podcast with the community studio audience for mental health and wellness for underserved communities, and just recently moved into podcasts for broadcast with audio only. Would we be a less strong application? I don't see that. Just tell us like, we've been this, we are this now, this is how it's working for us. We would like to now figure out how to make more people like hear this thing, and here's why. Because it pays to have both in our community of folks that are looking for mental health and wellness. You know what I'm saying? So, like, find your reason, but it doesn't make you a less strong applicant Oh, Jessica, is there somewhere we can link video versions in the application too? Casper, where should they put that?
You can just put, there is a field that says link to your podcast or website. So feel free to put, you don't have to limit it to one link. There is a cap on it. So if there's like more links that you want to share, put them in that catch-all question at the very end. But maybe just like let us know too what you're linking to. So just be like video and then link, or I don't know. You can also link to your social media if you want to see, if you want us to see how active your social media is, if you're proud of that, or you have like TikTok videos or something like that. So yeah, share all the links.
And I guess before we wrap up, I would say, applications and applying for anything is like a whole thing. Like as Paulette said, she didn't get in the first time. I've applied for through Submittable for many different things, even air things that I didn't get in. It's just when you go from 140 to 16, it's just numbers and it gets hard, and we're just like just trying our best to like crunch it down and make a group that will work well together and also address topics that we've never even thought to address. So when a bunch of y'all said video, ding, that's going off in my head. And I'm hoping to see some video applications now, because that means we could go book somebody to have a conversation that we haven't had before in our 3 years doing this program. This will be our third iteration. So thank you for like highlighting that, y'all. So we just want to let you know, like, it probably wasn't you. Don't worry about it if you don't get it in. That's why we have the live events, because we got tired of saying, sorry, you can't come. And we wanted to make it so everyone could come. So this is our way of being like, hey, welcome to the thing, sneakily.
All right. Well, I think that's all of the Q&As. So, yeah, and good luck with everyone, or to everyone with your applications. I'm looking forward to reading them and checking out all the cool shows and things that you're working on. And yeah, I'll be in touch once the recording is available. I'll send all those links out. Yeah, and then also just to plug AIR, we are having like an advocacy focus group in a couple hours. So if you are a freelancer, you're like having some issues with work and stuff like that, or just wanting to make the industry a better place, better working conditions for all, feel free to join us for that. And I will drop a link to that too.
And we'll all be there as well.
Yeah. So,
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, everybody. So, you guys, awesome. We're looking forward to seeing all your applications, no matter what, and listening to snippets of your show or seeing snippets of your show. Join us tonight if you can make it to the Organizing for a Better Audio Industry. Me, Casper, will be there again, and then you'll meet the rest of the advocacy committee of AIR. Because if y'all like them opinions I had, come to the meeting tonight. Okay, bye.
all right. Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Paulette.
Yeah, thank you, Paulette.
You're welcome.
All right, bye, everybody.